started. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm excited to have you. Today we're going to talk about what you need to know to win PPC business. My name's Callie, and I'm getting things started for you guys, so I want to get some of the logistics out of the way and hand it over to our experts and get straight to fun. So following our presentation today, you will receive an email from our presenter, Elliott, with both the recording and the slides. You can review them, watch the recording again, share with colleagues, whatever you may wish. We'll have a little time for Q&A following the presentation, so definitely be sure to submit your questions throughout, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. If you're not familiar with WordStream, we are a search marketing provider with both free and paid tools to help you easily grow AdWords and bank campaigns. So if you're looking to master paid search, learn a little bit more, definitely check out our PPC University at wordstream.com/learn. Now, we encourage you to be social today. You can find at WordStream and then our two presenters, at Erin and at Elliott P. Reed. Now, next up, I want to get to know you a little bit before we start today's presentation. Maybe cater the conversation a little bit to you guys. So I'm going to get started by launching a poll question. And the first poll question we have today is, how many PPC accounts are you currently managing? Is it 0, 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 10, or plus 10? Now, if you guys had to guess, what do you think it's probably going to be?
Oh, that's a great question.
Stumped you guys, put you on the spot.
I'm actually really curious, to hear what this audience is, and I'm hoping we can kind of take this information and pivot a little bit with our conversation here, but I have no idea.
Cool.
I think it's going to be, this is a cheating answer, but somewhere between 0 and less than 5.
All right, let's see. I'm going to share the results, close this out, and share. So it looks like, Elliott, you were pretty spot on. 2 to 5, we got 36%. 6 to 10, we were at 32%. Plus 10, 25%, 0, 0%, and 1, 7%.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds like we have a lot of people out there managing accounts, and sounds like you guys are looking to increase the number of accounts if you're attending this webinar. That's fantastic.
Great. Now, next up, we want to know roughly what percentage of your customer base are you providing PPC services to? Is it 0%? 1 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75, or 76 to 100. So we'll let you guys answer that.
Erin, do you think we're going to find a lot of opportunity out there?
I hope so.
I think we are too. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity out there.
All right, let's see what we got. So we have 4% are providing 0%. And then 1 to 25, we're at 22%. 26 to 50%, or the audience is 26% of that. And then 51 to 75, 15. And then 76 to 100, we have a whopping 33%.
Wow. So it sounds like we have a wide,
PPC.
Yeah, some people are really focused on PPC, and some people have a lot of opportunity within their own customer base. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Now I'm excited to hand it off to Erin, our first presenter, and she'll get things started. So take it away.
All right, hi guys. I'm Erin. I am on a bunch of these webinars, so I've probably talked to some of you guys before. And I wanted to start this webinar out with a little bit of a confession. And that confession is I am not a salesperson. So you're probably wondering what I'm doing on this webinar. If somebody asked me to get on the phone and sell something, this would probably be my reaction. And you'd probably find me a couple hours later sitting in the bathroom crying like this. I am 100% not a salesperson, but what I am is a PPC person, and it sounds like most of you out there would probably consider yourself the same. I've been doing PPC for over 4.5 years. I started on the customer success team at WordStream and have since moved to a PPC evangelist and community manager role. And I'm just super immersed in the paid search world. And I think I probably have the same experience with you guys when it comes to sales. you love PPC, you love doing it, it's really, really hard to show other people what paid search is when you're an expert in it. It's hard to kind of break it down to a level that makes sense for some of the people that you're selling to. It's hard to put your sales shoes on and feel like you're pressuring someone to do something. And so I personally understand some of the struggles of being a salesperson who is really more PPC focused. And so I brought in some backup to help me today. And that's Elliott Reed. He manages our agency sales team here at WordStream, and he can teach you and I how to take a sales approach that we feel comfortable with as PPC managers. So Elliott, I'll let you introduce yourself here.
Awesome, guys. Very excited to be here. Like Erin, I've been on a couple of these presentations, and if you found your way to the Google breakfast we hosted yesterday, you might have seen me up on stage presenting WordStream at Google's office. I've been at WordStream for 3.5 years now, working with a wide variety of businesses to help them really hone in on their PPC strategy, how to optimize their PPC accounts, and as of lately, for the past 1.5 years, really exclusively working with folks like yourself on how we can really turn PPC into a steady, consistent growth engine for your all's agency and also for your all's clients. And I'm really looking forward to sharing what I've learned and some fundamental sales skills with you guys just to get the conversation started and hopefully lower that barrier and hopefully you guys walk away with the idea that this is not big and scary and that everybody can do it and you guys are going to have a lot of great success.
Yeah, so I asked Elliott to kind of help me out here. I think one of the biggest challenges for me as a more of a PPC person is I don't know how to get started with a sales conversation or feel comfortable initiating a sales conversation. So I asked Elliott to kind of share some of his smarts and help me understand how I can do this better. So Elliott, tell us, how do we start the sales conversation?
Awesome. So guys, I'll talk a little bit about sales, and then Erin will follow up with some PPC expertise, and then we'll jump back and forth a little bit. But no secret, and I think as you guys can see from my slide here, to be successful at growing your PPC sales pipeline, so to speak, it all starts with you. It starts with you making a mental transition to becoming a PPC rock star. From our polls, it looks like some of you guys are already managing accounts, but I've worked with a lot of agencies out there, and some of those accounts are by default or their client asks for them to manage these accounts, and it's not necessarily their primary focus. They're more focused on, you guys may be more focused on web dev or SEO or traditional media, traditional agency offerings. We totally understand it, and really what I want to see is that if you can the mental transition to becoming a PPC rock star, I think you guys are going to see there's a ton of opportunity out there for you guys. What that really means is you got to be fired up, you got to be trained, you got to prepare yourself to take on PPC. It's funny. I talk to a lot of agencies that are kind of on the cusp of taking on more clients. I think a lot of you guys are right there, and a lot of people tell me that they want to wait until they get that first client, or they really want to, they're going to build out their PPC side of their business once they win this client or once they win that client. And that's the wrong way to think about it. You have to commit to doing PPC, get fired up so you see the opportunities and you go after those opportunities aggressively and with confidence. I was actually chatting with one of my colleagues here, talking a little bit about this webinar, and he kind of came up with a really great analogy, and I hope you guys take this away. If you wait to get that client, it's kind of like waiting to learn how to swing a baseball bat after you've already made it to the big leagues. It's not going to happen. You have to learn how to swing the bat first, and then you get called to the draft. Then you make it to the big leagues. If you guys invest in PPC, if you make that transition now to becoming a PPC rockstar, you're going to start talking about it more. You're going to start training yourself on it more. You're going to start looking for resources to learn how to communicate PPC conversations to people. And what's going to happen is you're going to start to find out that there's a lot of opportunities that you are currently missing now because you're not talking about it or you're not considering yourself a PPC rockstar. If you can make that transition, you'll be going through your day-to-day and you'll find a lot more opportunities to naturally bring up the conversation around PPC, and that really lowers this this bar. It makes it very easy to talk about PPC, makes it very easy to start to bring this concept up in your all's conversations with clients and potential clients.
And I think that you make a good point. Like, as you immerse yourself in it and really like put your foot down and say, I am going to learn this, I'm going to nail this, I'm going to sell PPC services, that confidence comes off. Like, people can feel that you know what you're doing and that you're ready to work in their account, and that confidence is really the mark of a great salesperson, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you're never going to buy from somebody who isn't confident with their own services.
Erin, you're nailing it. You're hitting the nail on the head. You're going to have fun with it, and you're going to have fun because you're confident. And actually, Erin's really hit on what I bring up later in the presentation, but it's all about confidence. It's all about being able to confidently communicate to potential clients what PPC will be able to do for them. Sure. Awesome. Okay, so how do you guys get in touch with PPC processes, or prospects, excuse me? I know a couple of you guys on the phone or on the other line are probably thinking, if I don't have a dedicated sales team, or if you're not a PPC part, this might be a little bit hard for you guys to imagine. Like, how do I reach out to people? How do I do this? How do I get out there and have these conversations, or who do I go after? Well, again, it all starts with you committing to be a PPC rockstar, and I guarantee you a lot of those opportunities will find you. I promise you that. But to give you a little bit of a direction here on how to get in touch with people, I first and foremost recommend that you guys start off with the low-hanging fruit. What do I mean by the low-hanging fruit? Talk with your current clients. Talk with people that you're already comfortable interacting with, and start to bring up PPC in either your monthly, weekly, monthly, quarterly reviews with them, and talk about potential opportunities with PPC. I'll definitely dive into what that means and how you start those conversations later, but it really just starts with bringing PPC up. Next, what I recommend you do is fold this into any new business opportunity that you find yourself in. If you're working on a current proposal now, go ahead and include or ask the question about PPC. Definitely make a point to bring PPC up. And again, it all comes back to being trained and confident about PPC. A couple other really good ideas that we've seen a lot of success with smaller growing agencies like yourself is to create partnerships. Go out there, find another complementary agency that is really good at a different service so they can start to recommend people that are interested in PPC. If you guys are trained, if you guys have the confidence to take on that PPC business, you'll find that this really starts to this opportunity will really start to grow for you. And then as you start to build your confidence, as you start to learn how to communicate PPC thoughts and concepts and value adds, you'll be able to go out into the great big world, so to speak. You can attend trade shows or local business events and just start to have that conversation. And then last but not least, the final step would be to make outbound phone calls. But definitely would recommend you hit all the other ones first before you go after the outbound calls. One question people come up, or I guess bring up a lot, is how frequently should you contact people in the pipeline? And there's definitely a ton of theories out there, tons of different metrics that you can follow, but it's really simple. It really all depends on how many resources you have to throw at your touch point process. If you guys do have a huge sales team, you will be able to track down leads a little bit longer. Here at WordStream, we do have a dedicated sales team, so we can reach out to potential clients a little bit more often than if we didn't have that resource here. But for a growing agency that's more focused on PPC, that's more focused on running their business, I really recommend that focusing on the first 3 touch points. There's study after study, and I have a quick screenshot here that shows this, that the first 3 touch points are the most important touch points that you should be focusing on. Connect rate drops dramatically after 3 phone calls or 3 emails. So my advice to you is really, really, really study up on your lead, study up on the messaging, and really have a game plan when you do connect with that person. And you might be asking yourself, well, who are these people? Who should I be connecting with? These would be anybody that filled out a connect or a form fill out on your website. These would be anybody that might be interested in other services. You could also reach out for PPC or any business cards that you might have collected at a trade show or event locally. I guess my key takeaway here is really focus on those first 3 touch points, and then if you have the resources to continue to follow up on a weekly basis, I definitely would recommend you do that.
You know, it's funny, when Elliott first showed me this slide, we were talking about it, and he was kind of saying, hey, it sounds low, just 3 calls, but those are the most critical ones. And in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, like, geez, if I call somebody once and, like, you know, that seems like enough. Leave 1 voicemail, and I don't want to do any more. Like, I don't want to bug anybody. And I take this approach when I think about PPC, and I realize I should also apply this approach to sales. Look at the data and see what works. Like, my assumption is that 3 calls feels like too much. More than 3 calls feels like too much. But the data here is showing that 3 call kind of touch point is key, and that's what you should be doing. So make sure that you're following the data, not just what feels right, because as people who aren't salespeople, it always is going to feel like too much if you're doing more than 1 call, and it's not. You
bring up a really good point. Just digging deeper into this data, there's actually some interesting stats that even after 10 attempts, 10 seems crazy, it shows that reps were able to connect with them at least 5% of the time. So there's still a lot of people out there. There's still a ton of opportunity. It's just a matter of schedules aligning up, time frames lining up. There's a lot of issues that are controlling people's attention, and sometimes 3 touch points is just not enough. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten on the phone with someone after numerous attempts, and they said, thank you for tracking me down. This is a big problem. This is a big pain point for me, and I know I'm busy for a reason, but I need to get this solved, and I wouldn't be getting it solved if I didn't have someone helping me with this issue.
It's literally like remarketing ad fatigue, right? Yeah, everyone's like, don't show too many ads. It's going to bug people. But the reality is, you add 6+ times, you have a higher likelihood of getting conversion. So, bottom line, follow Elliott's lead and look at the data. Don't do what feels right, because we're not salespeople, and what feels right is not going to work for us.
I think my next point will really make this a little easy, or make this a little bit clear. It's really, how do you introduce the paid search? Well, the truth is, it's not about paid search. It's about their business. And that's the transition. And I'm sure you guys are all PPC experts. But when you're saying hello, or when you're reaching out to try to connect with someone and potentially enter a PPC partnership, it's not about talking about your services or your PPC wizardry and how you won so many people PPC awards. That all will come later on in the conversation. But that first initial conversation should be all about their business, and that's the key difference. If you called someone 10 times and then you got them on the phone and said, I'm the best and I'm PPC and PPC is going to save your world and you should do PPC and you should pay me to do your PPC, they're not going to like that. But if you call them up and you talk a little bit about their business, ask them pointed questions, try to really understand what they're facing, maybe make some assumptions before the call and say, hey, I noticed your website did this. Are you finding that you're getting enough leads? People really enjoy talking about their business. We're humans. We like talking about ourselves. Those initial calls actually turn to be really, really enjoyable calls. And it's not until 10, 15, 20 minutes in, maybe, you might turn into a PPC conversation. But that's the key. Do not start with PPC. Talk about their business, ask about their business, learn something about them. I guarantee you it will make you more comfortable, which is very important, because that will show that you're having a lot of fun with it. You'll be more confident. But the other person's going to be much more receptive to talk about their business rather than get a sales pitch call, because no one wants to get a sales pitch call.
Right. Very true. All right, so I am going to tackle the next couple of points because they're a little more technical, and that's going through some of the common objections that we all hear on the phone when we're talking to anybody about paid search. And Elliott, feel free to jump in if you have any comments on these.
Absolutely.
So the first thing we hear all the time is like, well, why do I need PPC? Because my SEO is good enough. Remember, SEO is not always reliable. SEO is good. I would never tell people to stop putting effort into SEO, but you can't solely rely on SEO. You need to supplement it with paid search, and it's critical to ensure that your prospects understand. And if any of them have been hit by Penguin, Panda, any of these major updates that Google has done, they should have firsthand experience knowing that SEO isn't reliable and it can change overnight. A lot of people say, nobody clicks on ads. They know it's ads. Google's putting labels all over the place saying these are ads. Nobody clicks on those. Well, the reality there is also not true. If you look at the ads highlighted in blue, for high intent terms, 64.6% of people click on the ad and only 35.4% of people click on the organic listing. And yes, you might be thinking, that's crazy. Why would they be clicking on ads? Well, it's because ads are relevant. Google ensures that ads are relevant and really encourages people to write these relevant ads. And ads also have more information available to people at their fingertips. These ads have pictures. They have location extensions, call extensions, call outs, site links, all of these kind of extra bells and whistles to make these ads more enticing to the searcher. So yeah, the organic listings are there and they're not ads. Why would I click on them? They're boring. They don't offer a lot. They're not compelling like the ads are. And I often think that it's important to look at kind of younger generations to predict what the future is going to look like in technology. And what's even scarier for SEOs is that millennials have an even higher likelihood of clicking on an ad as opposed to an organic listing. So especially if you're marketing to millennials, this landscape could change over time. We really see more and more arrows pointing towards the paid search listing.
Which is a great segue when you are having a conversation with a current client that's not doing PPC. We know there's quite a few of you guys out there that do have a customer base that's not utilizing your PPC services. A couple really good questions with them next time you meet with them would be, is there anything specific? If they're not doing PPC yet at all, ask them if they'd like to really focus their marketing effort towards a specific product or a specific message. The beauty about PPC is you're able to really control what's being sent out there. You're able to control the messaging versus just an SEO strategy. So just another really good way to ask a conversation or to start a conversation around PPC, but to reiterate the point that I made earlier, don't start off with PPC. Ask them a question about their business to see if PPC is a good fit, and that then you can uncover a need potentially and solve that need with a PPC strategy.
Continuing on with that kind of downgrade of SEO, we see mobile. Mobile is murdering SEO. And why is that? Well, we're seeing more and more searches occurring on mobile devices instead of desktop devices. This was the first year that we actually saw more mobile searches than those that occurred on desktop. So why is this significant? Well, take a look. Take a quick gander at the screenshot on the right-hand side, looking for a plumber in Boston. What you'll notice is you only see ads. And you actually have to do 2 full scrolls before you see any organic listings. Why? Because on these really small screens, the ads push the organic listings further and further down the page. Now, this is really scary if you're working with some sort of emergency situation like a plumber, where people are eager to get in contact with anyone they can find right off the bat. Well, they're not going to scroll all the way down. They don't give a hoot about whether it's an ad or not. They need a plumber, and they're going to find a way to get in touch with the plumber, and your ad needs to be there. And finally, the last really scary thing for SEOs, if you're familiar with the SERP, you'll probably see something a little weird here. What is that? We got 1 ad, 2 ads, 4 ads. 4 ads on the SERP. That's crazy. We've never seen anything like this before. Google is testing an additional ad on that SERP. Again, pushing organic down even further onto the page. So we really are seeing this prevalence of ads.
And this is a great point. Just all of this information, all of these, this collateral that Erin is showing us right now, comes back to another point we were talking about earlier. Get excited about PPC. If you know that these facts and figures are out there, it will be a lot easier for you to bring this information to the table when you are talking with your current customer that's not doing PPC, you're working on a bid, or any potential customers that you might meet at a trade show. The fact is, you have to be fired up on PPC. You have to be involved in the marketplace, which we can definitely help you out with a bunch of our thought leadership and our training and all that good stuff. But if you have this information, you'll be able to see the trends coming. You'll be able to communicate that very casually, confidently to any potential customer that you're talking to.
Cool. So next objection we hear rather frequently is that PPC is expensive. And this one you can nix right off the bat. I mean, the bottom line is PPC is only expensive in one circumstance, and that circumstance is if you're not getting an ROI. If you're doing PPC the right way, then PPC should not be expensive for you or your prospect, because the return will be so wonderfully great that it won't matter how much you're spending. And the bottom line here also to remember is you're in control. Google isn't just going to take your money and go wild with it. You're setting bids, you're setting budgets, you can set very specific parameters. So you decide how much you want to allocate towards PPC, and you can make that happen. If you feel that you're going went a little too far, you can always pause them. It is immediate. So I think that the argument that PPC is too expensive just very, very rarely holds up.
And this is another great point, just to reiterate the conversation, or how do I start that conversation. A great way to really get a potential client interested in PPC who's not doing it is to ask them, what is their highest margin sale, or what kind of products would they rather be selling? Is there one that's more valuable to them, that has a longer lifetime value than other ones? If there is, I would imagine that they would want to spend more effort, marketing effort, driving traffic to that particular high-value item rather than to just their entire whole website or their entire business in general. That's where PPC will really give you the ability to control what people are finding for your particular clients. And that's a really big talking point. But again, it doesn't happen unless you ask the questions first. Ask about their business. I really hope I'm making my point. It's all about them, which makes selling or talking about PPC or bringing it into the conversation much, much easier, as long as you know what you're talking about. And again, you have to be a PPC rock star to do that.
And I think that's an important thing to point out is you can kind of use it as a gateway. Like, you don't have to go full throttle and advertise their entire site right from the get-go. You can show them with their highest, their kind of key products, show them that it works, and then build off that. And then the final objection that we just hear all the time is PPC leads don't convert for me. And again, I hate to break it to whomever you're talking to, but a lot of this comes down to mismanagement. If you are doing PPC the right way, you have strong, effective landing pages, you should be seeing conversions. Now, it may not always be off the bat, and that's an important thing to talk about. And I'll get to that in just a minute. But these PPC leads should be converting. And the reason that they should be converting is you have people telling you precisely what they want. You look at this search result and you see somebody's looking for men's leather shoes, size 9. Couldn't be more specific. Give them men's leather shoes, size 9. Give them exactly what they're looking for. Ensure that there is relevancy from your keyword to your ad to your landing page, and you will see conversions coming through. So as long as you're set up in a smart way, and as long as your landing pages are easy to navigate and easy to convert off of, you should be seeing conversions from paid search. Now, like I said, the first time isn't always a charm. Take your girl out to dinner, she's not always going to go home with you right afterwards, right? You kind of have to work through it, to work your leads, to nurture them. And PPC can actually help you do that too, right? You have somebody who's looking for something. In this case, I really fell in love with this particular brand of ice cream. If any of you guys are in Ohio, you know it. It's called Jenny's. Even like Justin Timberlake loves Jenny's. It's the best ice cream in the world. and it is vastly, vastly overpriced. And as a poor PPC evangelist, I can't necessarily afford to purchase it as much as I'd like. But I do spend a lot of time checking out their new flavors online. And I spend a good amount of time on the website, and I certainly was not converting right off the bat. But Jenny's has a smart PPC manager who recognizes that the purchase cycle for their ice cream, given its high dollar price, is a little bit long. So what did this PPC account manager do? They remarketed to me. And so as I went about my business online, after researching this ice cream, I started seeing ads for it. So I'd be doing, maybe reading Search Engine Land, and all of a sudden I'd see an ice cream ad. And then I'd be, researching clothing online, and all of a sudden ice cream reappears. And next thing I know, I'm this idiot who spent $56 on ice cream. And it was delicious. It probably wasn't worth it, but remarketing is a great way to kind of bring these people back into the fold. You start to lose them, they leave your landing page, they didn't purchase right off the bat, show them your ads, get back in their head, they're already interested in you. Eventually, they will probably break down and convert because we know self-restraint isn't always the easiest thing to have.
I think that was a great decision, by the way.
Have you ever had Jenny's ice cream?
I have not, but now I want it.
They have this blueberry, bramble, and a sweet corn and blueberry. I mean, it's the best ice cream in the world. You guys should all research it, all get the ads. We'll all be in debt from Jenny's ice cream, and you can thank me later. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Elliott now that I have shown all my cards. So this is another really kind of interesting thing that I asked Elliott about. How do you sell to somebody who's already doing PPC, right? We've talked about how to convince somebody that they need PPC, right, by doing a gap analysis and understanding these objections. But what about somebody who's already sold on the idea of PPC? You just want them to use you to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as you probably guessed by now, my theme starts with the customer. So whoever you're talking with, really, really, really take some time, and I mean really go deep here. Understand their current situation and goals. If they're already doing PPC, that's fantastic. That's even a better position to be in. Understand how many leads they're getting from their PPC account. Understand if they're happy with that. Understand what they would like to be at. Really try to do what we here at WordStream call a gap analysis. What we're really trying to understand is what their current situation is. They wouldn't be talking with you if they didn't have some sort of dissatisfaction with the account's performance or whatnot, and really try to understand, okay, you're currently right here, and you'd like to be 10 times more or whatever, twice as many leads, whatever it is. Then continue to ask some more questions. What would that mean for your business? What if we were able to generate those leads? What would that mean for you? If we didn't, if you don't get those leads, what's that going to mean for you? Really try to understand their business and why this is important, because that will give you the ability to align yourself with their goals, and that's really the next point. You want to focus on the low-performing areas in their account and really align yourself with those strengths. And that can take many different forms. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have to hit it out of the park on everything they need. It's really focusing on certain areas. That could be reporting. That could be an issue that they're really dissatisfied with. They might be getting some good account performance, but they have no idea what's going on in the account because they have no way to perform, and you guys maybe have a really great reporting. That could be a very valuable service that you could then turn into the ability to find opportunity within the account and then continue to reinvest some areas of savings that the reporting has shown you and put that right back into the account. So whether it's reporting, whether it's really doing great keyword research, whether it's ad copy, whatever your strengths are and what you as a marketing company do well already, when you're doing that gap analysis, make sure you align yourself to those services, because one, you're gonna definitely talk more confidently about that, and it's just another area to really hit on. The next is be specific. So when you're going through this process, and I'm sure you guys have done this before, but ask for access to their account and set up a follow-up meeting to talk about some specifics you'll be able to help out at. Here at WordStream, we definitely have some tools to help you go through that analysis. We have a performance grader that will audit that account for you. We can even walk you through a conversation or how to go through and tell you what areas to look for and what talking points that you want to bring back to the customer. But it's not good enough just to say we can get you more leads. Show them how you're going to be able to do that. You want to talk about their quality score. If it's not low, one or two steps that you'll be able to improve that. But when you do follow up, when you do that conversation with the client, be specific. We're going to be editing your ad copy. We're going to be adding negative keywords. We do a great job on reporting. We'll create a couple landing pages and some really specific sales funnel that align with some of these high value products that you've already found out in the conversations you've had before.
And you know, you said something interesting there. You said before you meet with them, ask them for access to their account and take the time to prepare to understand their business, their goals, and what they're doing already. And I think so many people are hesitant to ask for account access. And your sales will be significantly less successful if you aren't talking about these specifics and showing them the examples. And it's also almost a matter of honesty on your part. In order to say, I can change this for you, I can make X, Y, Z better, you need to understand their current account status. So don't be hesitant to ask for account access. It is very appropriate to ask for that. Very few people say no.
Absolutely. It's interesting. You bring up a really good point, and maybe I'm a little jaded because I've been following my own processes for so long, because the way I've outlined it in this call, it seems very natural to go down that path. But it's very easy to ask for someone's account and get permission to take a look at someone's account after you've had a really good long conversation about their business, their goals, you've built rapport, they know who you are. It makes sense. The conversation naturally transitions into, well, great, sounds like you might be able to help me out with these areas. The next step is to, well, let me...
They're pulling it up themselves.
Yeah,
they're like, please look at my account.
It's really, that's how it goes, and that's the key. Now, if you're thinking, okay, you get on the phone, you tell them you're going to do great with PPC, and give me your account, of course they're going to say no, and that's the wrong approach. So my kind of key message here is always focus on their business, let the conversation roll naturally, and by the end of that conversation you'll be surprised at how far you and the conversation and the potential lead have come and how easy it is to get that connection and make that ask. And then the last point is be confident. That's the key to all of this, and that really all stems back from changing your perception on PPC and becoming a PPC rockstar from the get-go. That really drives everything. As long as you've taken on PPC, decided you're going to be a PPC rockstar, you will be confident. The conversations will flow naturally, and it's very, very easy to have these conversations.
And it's funny. So the next question I asked Elliott to address, I thought his response was really funny, because when I think about doing this process, oh my God, I am going to offend somebody terribly. Like the idea of going through somebody's account and talking about it, whether it's them managing it, whether they have somebody in-house managing it, they have another agency. How do you do it delicately without offending everyone? And I thought your response was pretty funny.
It's not a big deal. But I hope that I've taken you on a little bit of a journey over the past 45 minutes or so to help you understand why I came to this conclusion. If you've created this relationship with this potential partner, you understand their business, you've talked about their current situation, you've talked about their needs, they are almost, and most likely, in my opinion, hoping that you find these opportunities, and they're excited to hear about all the opportunity because they've already started to think, what's next? How many leads they potentially could get? Where can we go from here? They're obviously having these conversations with you because they're not satisfied with what's going on, and they don't want to be in that state. They're probably in a situation where they need help, and they're looking for help. So it's not hard to have these conversations. If you've already partnered with them, you guys are both on the same page, both on the same team, and talking about the issues, not personal abilities or anything like that. It's not about, hey, you didn't do a good job. It's about understanding that these people are incredibly busy, they're managing their own business, they're not PPC experts. You guys are, but they have to generate twice or 3 times as many leads, whatever that is, and then you just find the opportunities within the account to say, yeah, we can do that, and here's what I would do for you, XYZ, specific reason. If you communicate that confidently, it's really a no-brainer. It's a done deal.
Cool. really moving through this. I know this webinar has been a little longer than anticipated, so I will go through it pretty quickly, but I felt like it was really, really important to talk to you about this. Like I said earlier, a PPC person, it's our job to protect ourselves. It's our job to sell clients that are good fit for our business. Because frankly, the juice isn't worth the squeeze sometimes. You know, if you're working with a client who's really, really difficult, it may not even be worth the money coming in from that person. So here at WordStream, we are hypersensitive to this. We don't take on any clients that don't fit the criteria that we as a company have agreed upon is critical for us to take on an account. So we call it our RFP process. Any client who's interested in working with us, with our managed services team, which is our internal agency, has to pass this RFP process in order for us to work with them. And here are a couple of the red flags that we consider absolute no-nos. We don't take these people on. So number one, a lack of trust. As you have the conversations that Elliott has been talking about, you should have a really good sense for this person, and they should be developing some sort of trust with you. You need these people to trust you because you need them to be open to trying new things on their account. You're not going to be able to make leaps and bounds with their performance if you're unable to experiment with new things, to make big changes in their account. So they absolutely must have trust in you. And if they're constantly second-guessing you through the sales process, they're going to be a lot worse when they're your actual clients. So keep an eye out for that. Also keep an eye out for a poor online reputation. This is huge. This is one thing that can stand in the way of their PPC performance, no matter how amazing you are. You could have the best account structure. You could be doing every genius bell and whistle that AdWords will allow you to include. But if they have a crappy online reputation and people are searching for them and seeing nasty things about them online, it doesn't matter how good your paid search is, you probably aren't going to get them the results that they expect. So we've turned people down for this. We've also explained it and had them work on it and ended up working with them when they had improved their reputation. But just keep an eye out. Do some research, look on Yelp, figure out who they are and if they're they have a good online reputation. Number 3, ugly landing pages. This is hideous. But I kind of mentioned this before. Again, you can create an amazing PPC account. If you send somebody to a crappy landing page where it is hard for them to convert, in some cases impossible for them to convert, the language on the landing page doesn't make sense, the pictures are poor, you're not going to see good results and you're not going to be able to get that client great results. So if they have ugly landing pages, have the conversation about whether or not you can update their landing pages. A lot of you probably offer web dev services. If not, I know here at WordStream we have some tools to help people manage their landing pages, or they might have an outside company that they're already working with that would be willing to work on their landing pages for them. But if they are dead set in keeping these ugly landing pages up and running and want to put no resources to changing them, I would recommend against working with them. Number 4, this one is huge. History of bad behavior in AdWords. It is so hard to come back from this. If somebody has been Google slapped, meaning their account has been suspended in the past, and they've managed to get it up and running, one teensy tiny policy violation could end up in them getting slapped again, and you don't want to be the agency that got them kicked off AdWords for good. So have an open conversation about this. Ensure that you understand what's happened with their account in the past, so you know exactly what you're working with, and I would definitely err on the side of caution if they have gotten in big trouble in the past.
This is also another good talking point you can bring up in the conversation if someone's just looking to get into PPC. The worst thing that could happen is those people do it by themselves, go at it alone, do a lot of things that they don't know they shouldn't be doing, and they end up getting slapped, like Erin was saying. This is something that you could at least bring up in the conversation. Say, hey, you know, this does happen. I have seen it happen before. if I manage it for you, I'll make sure that we'll be following all rules, procedures, staying up to date. I'm trained on this stuff. This makes sense to me, and that will protect their future account going forward. So it's another way you can definitely talk to potential clients and make sure that you're just having open, honest conversations with them.
Yeah. Particularly sensitive industries. I mean, you may or may not want to take on clients from a sensitive industry. You should probably give that a lot of thought before you do it. Make sure you really, really are prepared to deal with that. But if they are in, say, the pharmaceutical industry and they are thinking about doing PPC on their own, they're going to get slapped really, really quickly. It is easy to get in trouble with that. So keep an eye out for those types of industries that you'll want to have conversations about them. Number 5, commitment phobes. This goes without saying. If they are unwilling to sign a long-term contract, you have a problem on your hands. PPC is not going to change overnight. As wonderful as the hard work that you're doing is, and as knowledgeable as you may be, you will not turn around the results overnight. I recommend always getting into long-term relationships with clients at minimum 3 to 6 months. Oftentimes we see agencies push a year-long contract, but you really want to make sure that they're in it for the long haul with you and not playing around, shopping around, or unwilling to give it like a solid try.
And this all comes back to the initial conversation around their business, their goals, their long-term goals. And you want to make sure that you explain how PPC works and that how PPC, as Erin said, does not turn around overnight or does not all of a sudden become a magic rock star, and that things change 2, 3, 4 months down the road, and that it takes consistent, constant work. As long as you've had these conversations up front, you know their expectations and their long-term goals, a little line and really say, hey, this PPC strategy is built out for the long term. We're not just here to do 1 month worth of work for you, and then your account's going to be set for accounts take consistent. You guys know consistent. Month out, week in, week out.
And the build-out process, of course, is the longest. When you first take on an account, you're going to probably not stop, and then over time, it will be consistent but less. What you do not want to happen is that somebody takes your hard work, takes that build-out, and runs with it and tries to do it on their own afterwards. If you're going to commit that kind of hard work in the beginning, you want to make sure they're going to stick around and let you finish it out. And then finally, number 6, unreasonable goals. Do not sign somebody on if they cannot agree upon the goals with you. If their goals are unreasonable and you know that you cannot attain them for this person, they're going to be a nightmare of a client and will likely cause more harm for you than good. So be straightforward. Have conversations about their goals. Be clear with them what you think is reasonable and what you think you can do for them. And those open, honest conversations will lead you down a good path. If indeed they are unwilling to settle on goals that make sense to you, I would recommend walking away from that sale. All right, so I hope that this has been helpful for you guys. I know we've gone through a ton of information, and Elliott, I'm so glad we had you on here. A lot of what you shared was really interesting. The good news is we're not stopping. There's so much that goes into maintaining, creating, marketing,
running an agency.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And we are excited to let you guys know that this is going to be an ongoing series. We'll be bringing on different people from people who work at the agency here at WordStream. We'll be bringing on other sales reps who have worked heavily with agencies to help you guys really make sure that you have all the tools that you need. And we work with tons of agencies. We can provide so much information here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So next up, we're going to talk a little bit about how to price it right and what to offer. So pricing structures, if any of you guys are confused or would like a little bit of guidance, definitely give you some insight just on industry standards, tips and tricks, and then what are the different services offered? How can I talk about those? How can I get clients excited about the different things that I can provide? So that's really where we're going to take this series next.
Yeah. And I actually should quickly follow this up. If there are things you guys want to know about, if you have burning questions about how to manage your agency, we want to make this series as informative as possible for you. So tweet at us respond to Elliott's email, the follow-up email he'll send after this. But let us know what we can do to help you guys, and we'll certainly try and deliver on that.
Absolutely. And one last thing, we are extending a special offer to everybody that is attending here, so thank you guys so much. That special offer is either a live AdWords assessment, if you have an account that you're working on right now and scratching your head trying to figure out, I have no idea what to do about this, give us a call. We'd love to walk you through a quick assessment. We can do a deep dive into that AdWords account. And then also, we do have a $250 Bing offer that we'd love to extend. Now, this is only for Bing accounts. You can extend this to one of your customers. So if you're working on closing that last deal, we can you can extend this to that client as long as we can get them signed up with a Bing account and you sign up with our WordStream Advisor software. We will be able to extend that PPC Bing credit to you guys. So please give us a call for more information on that offer and how we can help get you hooked up with $250 when you sign up with WordStream's PPC Advisor program.
Great. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I would like to take the time to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule today to sit and listen with us, to Erin and Elliott. And I'd like to thank Erin and Elliott for hanging out with me for a little bit today and putting this webinar on. Like I said earlier, Elliott will be sending out an email later on this afternoon with the recording and slides, and his contact information will be in there. So if you'd like to continue the conversation with him, you definitely can do that then. I definitely invite you to take advantage of these special offers. So definitely I'll leave this up for a little bit. And if you have any other questions for Erin or Elliott, you can follow up with them on Twitter or at WordStream, and we'll be sure to help you out as much as possible. So thanks, everyone, and we hope you have a great holiday season.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for coming.
Thank you, guys.